The hotel room 305B1 level English story. Ethan adjusted his hotel uniform and checked the front desk clock. 10:47 p.m. The lobby of Grand Crescent Hotel was quiet. Soft piano music played through hidden speakers. Most guests were already asleep. Ethan liked the night shift. It was peaceful. No crowded check-ins. No noisy tourists. Just silence and warm lights. He picked up a room key and organized some papers. Then the phone rang. He answered quickly. "Front desk. This is Ethan speaking." A calm female voice replied. "Room 305. Ethan recognized the voice immediately. "Room 305. The guest in that room always called late at night. "Yes, ma'am. Could I have chamomile tea, please?" Ethan looked at the order list. "Of course." There was a short pause. "And, please remember." Her voice became softer. "No housekeeping tomorrow." Ethan hesitated. "Certainly." The call ended. He stared at the phone. Room 305 had been strange from the beginning. The guest had checked in almost 3 weeks ago. Her name was Mrs. Eleanor Hayes. She had rented the room for a long stay. Since then, she had made the same requests every day. Wanty, soft music, low lights, and always no visitors. No cleaning staff. No room service inside. Only delivery left outside the door. At first, Ethan had not cared. Hotels were full of unusual people. But after weeks, his curiosity had grown. He prepared the tea tray himself. Steam rose gently from the cup. As he rode the elevator, he looked at the numbers. The elevator doors opened. The hallway was silent. Room 305 stood at the far end. Ethan walked slowly. The carpet softened his footsteps. He stopped outside the door and knocked. A moment later, the door opened only a few inches. Mrs. Hayes stood there. She looked elegant and tired. Her silver-gray hair was neatly tied back. She wore a dark sweater and a gentle expression. "Thank you," she said. Ethan handed her the tray. For a second, he noticed something. Music. Old jazz music played quietly inside. And somewhere deeper in the room, he thought he heard someone cough. Mrs. Hayes noticed his expression. Her smile faded slightly. "Good night, Ethan." The door closed. He stood there a moment longer. Someone else was inside. But the room was registered for one guest. Back downstairs, Ethan tried to forget about it. The sound stayed in his mind. The next evening, room 305 called again. And the evening after that. The same requests. The same closed door. One rainy Thursday, Ethan spoke with his coworker Mia. She raised an eyebrow. "You're obsessed with that room." "I'm not obsessed," Ethan said. "Just curious." Mia laughed. "Hotels teach you something." "What?" "Never ask questions you don't need answered." But Ethan kept wondering. Why stay hidden? Why refuse cleaning? And who was inside? 2 nights later, something changed. Near midnight, the front desk phone rang. Ethan answered. But instead of Mrs., he heard breathing. Weak breathing. Then a quiet voice. "Please." The line crackled. And disconnected. Ethan froze. His stomach tightened. He called room 305. No answer. Nothing. He grabbed the emergency key and hurried toward the elevator. Rain struck the hotel windows. His heart pounded. Outside room 305, he knocked. No reply. Still nothing. "Eleanor?" he called. Silence. He unlocked the door and slowly stepped inside. The room smelled softly of tea and lavender. Warm lamps glowed in the corners. Jazz music played quietly. Photographs covered a small table. Old family pictures. Birthday candles. Smiling faces. And near the window, Ethan stopped. An elderly man lay peacefully in bed. Oxygen tubes rested beneath his nose. Beside him sat Mrs. Hayes. She looked up, surprised, then tired. Her eyes were wet. "I'm sorry," Ethan said quickly. "I heard someone on the phone." Mrs. Hayes looked toward the man. "My father." Ethan stood silently. The room suddenly made sense. The music, the privacy, the strange rules. Mrs. Hayes gently held the old man's hand. "He has a serious illness," she said softly. The hospital felt cold. Her voice shook, and home carried too many memories. Ethan looked around again. The room did not feel like a hotel. It felt like something else. A home. She smiled sadly. He always loved hotels. Ethan listened quietly. "When I was little," she continued, "he traveled for work. He said hotel rooms felt full of possibility." Her father opened his eyes weakly. She leaned closer. "You're okay," she whispered. Then she looked back at Ethan. "I wanted his last days to feel peaceful." The rain tapped softly against the glass. Ethan did not know what to say. So he simply asked, "Can I help?" Mrs. Hayes looked surprised. Then she nodded. That night, Ethan stayed longer than expected. He brought fresh tea, extra blankets, and softer lights. Over the next few days, he visited room 305 often. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they sat quietly. Mr. Hayes liked old stories and jazz music. He called Ethan young man and smiled often. The room no longer felt mysterious. It felt warm. Then, one morning, room 305 did not call. Ethan already knew. The hallway felt strangely still. Mrs. Hayes met him at the door. Her eyes were tired, but peaceful. "He passed away last night," she said. Ethan lowered his head. "I'm sorry." She nodded softly. He was comfortable. A few hours later, she checked out. The room stood empty again. Too quiet. Ethan helped carry her luggage. Before leaving, she handed him an envelope. "For you." Then she smiled gently and walked away. Later, during his break, Ethan opened it. Inside was a photograph. Mr. Hayes smiling beside his daughter. And beneath it, a handwritten note. "Thank you for treating room 305 like a home, not just a room." Ethan looked toward the elevators. The hotel suddenly felt different. For years, he had believed rooms were temporary places. People arrived. People left. And nothing stayed. But now, he understood something. Some rooms held more than luggage. Some rooms held memories. And sometimes, behind a closed hotel door, there was not mystery, only love.